Hello and welcome to the Gameplay Library. My name is Ryan and today we have our second addition to the library, Endling, Extinction is Forever, developed by Hero Beat Studios and published by Handy Games. The game places you in the role of the last mother fox on Earth looking after your 4 cubs. Now this takes place over a period of 30 nights and you must keep the cubs alive until the end, so that involves feeding them and teaching them new skills. And having received this game this month for free on PlayStation Plus, well, I absolutely had to take a look, so let's have a look at some gameplay. On opening, the game pulls you straight into the action. You are playing as the mother fox fleeing a forest fire. Now, we don't know the cause of this fire, but this area of the game does function as the tutorial and kind of sets things up for things to come, that this is not a nice little world that we're going to be playing. While the fox is cute, very little about the rest of this is. After falling off a cliff and finding the safety of our first den, we do then meet our all little 4 cubs, of which you get to design and play with their colours, which is nice. You get to customise the pups that you follow around, and it gives you more of an attachment to these cubs for the game that's about to follow. Now, I mentioned previously that the game is divided up into 30 nights. Now, this is where we get introduced to this mechanic. So, nights 1 and 2 are nice and simple. We get introduced to the scent mechanic, which helps us find food, and that is basically it. Our entire job on the first 2 nights is to find food and feed the pups. Make sure that's done, and you'll happily progress. Night 3, however, is where our game and our story truly begins. One of our pups is lured away, and now, as a mom, our job is to hunt down and find our cub. This is where we're introduced to the secondary element of the scent mechanic, which is the purple line. So these are temporary markers that can only be found over a course of a couple of nights. And as you follow these markers, you will come across images, I guess, and it describes what is happening to your pup at that point in time, or what happened to the pup. There are many of these throughout the game, and you do unlock a number of them over the course of time. Storytelling perspective, this is quite important. This is where you learn that there is life outside of the animals, that humans are around and relevant in the world, and that they are doing things and potentially not the nicest of creatures, and that you may be best off avoiding them. This is true. The vast majority of the human NPC characters that you'll meet in this game will harm you, and as simple as that. There are exceptions to this rule. There are 3, in fact, exceptions to this rule. One is the Wanderer. So that is a man who you will find wandering around the map at a certain point, usually in the rain, as I've found, where he's simply playing the lute. He's a friendly character. He gives you food and a scratch. There's also 2 little girls who provide the exact same function in the game. You come across one of them once you unlock the island and the treehouse area. You can climb up and visit her. She will give you food. You can then also meet her later on to receive a pat from herself. You also run into the little girl of the man who stole your pup from you. Now, I took a pause and a breath there because there's a lot in that moment when you meet her. She gives you a hug and a little scratch and a little bit of food, and on you go. And that's it. It's on you go, and she has more relevance to this story than is possibly true. But that is how the game goes. It's broken down over these nights where you search for your pup, and you just attempt to keep your other pups alive. Over the course of the game, you do teach your pups several skills. These are simply life skills. They are to jump, to dig, to climb, squeeze through fences, and all other life skills for your cubs to have. And that becomes incredibly important, as this game, while beautiful, has one of the most tragic storylines I have ever come across in gaming, and that's saying quite a lot. So as you play through this game, you've taught your cubs their skills, you're going on, and you're finally free. You find your cub, and unfortunately you find the trapper who took your cub his daughter has passed away. There's no 2 better ways of saying this. And if you notice on the way the tree is decorated on the daughter passing away, this is shown multiple times throughout the games, which means there's been multiple deaths. The forest you were in is actually on consideration a graveyard more than anything else. But you get your cub back, and that's it. You're a family once more, at least for a little while. On your final night in the game, where you finally have 4 pups, your newest den begins to flood. The pups get away safely, you get injured, and wake up in the desert. On moving slightly to the left, you recover your pups, and all four of you begin your journey, your trek across the desert in order to survive. Along this journey, you are spotted. You're spotted by a human, and the rifle doesn't go off. And that's hope. The game gives you hope as it drags you towards its own depression. As you walk and wander, you finally come across a sanctuary, and you come across the badger who had helped you should you have played through the game correctly up until this point. And he continues. My apologies there. Continues to do so. She helps you dig into the sanctuary, and as your pups pass through, and as eventually you pass through, a light comes along, and with one bang, the game changes in its entirety. That's it. That's Mother dead. But here's the thing: if you done it right, if you done everything in this game right, you taught your pups all of the skills needed to survive, and with the help of the badger, they may proceed to survive. And maybe I took things up wrong, or maybe I missed a significant point, and I get it. I get the whole environment, protect the animals. We need to do that. And while sounding quite casual and blasé about it, I do wholly agree. But I think nearly the key part of this game is it's more about being a parent and how you parent. All you can do is prepare your children for life. You can give them all the skills, you can do everything you can, but eventually you're not going to be there to help and protect them. And as a parent, while it is true, it is tragic, and there is no two ways around it. Now, as for a review of this game, what else can I say that hasn't been covered by nearly everyone else on YouTube and every other society? The game is brilliant. If you haven't played it yet, download it. It is 5 gigabytes and 2 hours of your time. Hell, you can platinum run this game in less than an hour. Play the game. There's no excuse.